helping families navigate through probate and changes in their lives as a real estate agent. There's a lot of complicated things that come up. One is, what do I do with a personal property? The things that are valuable, the things maybe that are more emotional than valuable, and the things that aren't. And so one of the tools I've come across, I had a chance to chat with before, is Sarah Powers, who's the founder of Nemu. I'll let her pronounce it. The website's mynemu.com. Sarah, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Bill. It's great to see you again.
So your name is easy, but the product, I probably butchered. What's the proper way to pronounce it?
It's Nemu, and our website is mynemu.com.
God, I knew I had it wrong. I knew I was going to do it wrong, and I didn't have a life
All
preserver
good.
halfway through. So let's talk about as I understand this, as a real estate agent, I have clients who their parents are moving maybe to senior living. Unfortunately, the parents have passed, and they're managing an estate. And there's the easy part for me, which is selling the real estate. There's a complicated part with all the other stuff, and that's kind of where you come in. Describe how you help those families.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of families come to us when they've just lost a loved one or they're downsizing and need to be out of the house in 30 days or 60 days. And a lot of times there are so many other logistics with that life stage, whether they're downsizing or just lost a loved one, that thinking about what do we do with the stuff in the house often comes last, rightfully so. But then it becomes really overwhelming when there's no structure or tool to help with that. And so Nemu is a great resource for them where they can catalog or make an inventory of everything in the house. And when families are using it proactively, they can capture, family history through voice notes and comments and really capture that legacy about each piece. We can even help pull in price estimates for each item so that, there's a little bit more transparency on how much their items are worth. And then from there, when assets or personal items need to be divided, we have a tool that'll take emotional value scores for each item from each beneficiary and equitably divide the assets. So there's no family fighting. There's no need for traveling in and putting sticky notes or drawing straws of who gets to pick first. We can take care of that all from the comfort of their home. And then
Oh.
whatever's left, we'll do our best to help them sell the residual items that the family doesn't want, because a lot of families that we've worked with don't want everything, but there are a few pieces that they really do cherish.
Got it. So the website, mynemu.com, and how it works, and you actually work in a couple areas. You work in inheritance, divorce. I don't like to talk about that. I'm still married, so I don't want to. I don't even like that word on my
My husband
website.
doesn't. My husband doesn't like me googling that space either.
Exactly. And downsizing, as realtors, we all deal with that. But in the inheritance space, grief is overwhelming. I think a lot of these things is that the more you get into it, the more emotional it can be. And on one hand, we want to help people process appropriate grief. What we don't want to do is trigger it at the wrong place in the wrong way. And
Yeah.
so you have an app. They list the inventory, and I guess what your app will. How do you access the value of properties? Do you look at like Facebook Marketplace or eBay, or what do you do to come up with
Yeah,
values?
great question. So our initial scan is we just say we're going to do a survey of the internet, and we look at eBay quite a bit to say your items on eBay, a similar item recently sold for $100, $1,000, $5,000, so that they just get a benchmark for what the value of their property is in the market. You can get an item appraised and have it be $10,000, $15,000, but is that really what's gonna be sold for? And so the family can have a realistic idea of what to expect. If needed, if the item does need a certified appraisal, we can help them connect with appraisers as well from our network. Just really depending on what the family needs. But what we find a lot of times is they just directionally want to know, is this unexpectedly worth thousands of dollars or not, just because there's so many hidden treasures people find in their homes.
That Mickey Mantle baseball card is all the rage for sure. So,
Yeah.
how do you get paid? Do you charge for the app or the service, or take a service fee, or how does the money part? Not to be crass, but it's a
No.
business. How does the money part work?
Yeah, so we offer a few different packages depending on the scope of needs, but the starting package is at around $100 to get started, to get going with your inventory. And then there's different features we offer, such as the appraisal services, the dividing of assets, and the selling of assets. So, depending on the scope of needs, we do have upgrades within the app families can pursue.
God, so I can get the app and then look at those upgrades. And so at the end of the day, I find that it's about efficiency. It's not necessarily about the money. In many cases, if we can just get rid of everything and not charge for a trash out, that's just burning money in my book. If we can find
Yeah.
enough money to cover those charges. Do you also include a referral, or do you also include the junk out process, or how does
Yeah.
that?
We hope to at some point, but right now we don't do, kind of the clear out process. We do have some partners we recommend for those services who have great experience in the space. So can
Yeah.
definitely help the family think through that. But that's not a service we do right now.
Okay. So again, somebody who's interested, it'd be mynemu.com, and you can subscribe there for emails. You can reach out to them to get work. Download the app that I think is relaunching next week. Is that
Yeah,
that's
that's
why we're
right.
here?
Yeah, we have a lot of great new tools going to be reintroduced or introduced to our users. And yeah, I think that the big takeaway that I've seen for families is we do really help reduce the stress during these life events, but also preserve family relationships and legacies and help save time so they can focus on what really matters most to them at that point.
I thought I might do a separate video, but I'm thinking that really, let's just segue right into, as a real estate agent, I often deal with professionals who deal with the consumers, right? I don't talk to the family first, but sometimes it's an attorney, sometimes it's a
Yeah.
fiduciary, sometimes it's some other party. So how do you work with those, or how do you see your application being worked with attorneys or other professionals that maybe aren't themselves going to do it, but would market this or use this as a tool to help their customers?
Yeah, that's a great point, Bill. So we work with partners to share our app. What we've found is that our end clients or our families that we work with are already surrounded by key professionals that really are providing a ton of support for them. And
Hmm.
so we are partnering with those professionals directly. So real estate agents, estate lawyers, funeral directors, professional organizers, folks that are already working with families to share about our app. It's a way for them to, differentiate their services, improve their customer experience. We find a lot of professionals end up hearing about the fighting and they would love to have a tool to recommend, and Nemu can now be that tool for them. But then lastly, we really expand their business without them having to increase headcount or any operating expenses
Good point.
through our referral and white labeling partnerships.
And I think I see this as a way that you can give somebody something in advance to earn some credibility as well as some goodwill, right? How do I get a listing? Well, I convince a family I'm an expert. Well, how do I do that? Well, one is tie them into great service providers like you. For
Yeah.
free, I can make the introduction. And second, help them get started in that part of the process. So to me, it's a no-brainer that anybody's a professional dealing with families in transition, it's a resource to think of. So, Sarah, I appreciate your time. Best way to reach out would be at mynemu.com.
Yeah.
And if you do talk to people there, tell them you saw it through Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate. And Sarah, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And yeah, if anybody wants to reach out directly, my email is sarah@mynemu.com. Sarah with an H at mynemu.com. Thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.